YouTubers and influencers seem to live their entire lives in front of the camera, but do you really think you know them? Some of them hide the most sinister secrets behind their online facades, and in some cases they are cold-blooded murderers. So without wasting any more time, let's look at 8 content creators who completely lost their marbles. Randy is better known by his online alias, Andrew Blaze. For nearly 7 years, he worked at Weiss Markets, quietly going about his job during the overnight shift. But all the while, he was planning something horrific.
I wanted to shoot up a supermarket. I wanted to do all that. And plus, with just me doing it, there's no fucking way I would kill more than like fucking 3 people. I would kill.
He would occasionally post disturbing videos on YouTube, detailing his admiration for the Columbine shooters and his desire to cause as much damage as possible.
This is the gun I feel that is going to be the one doing most of the work. My biggest goal is to do as much damage as I can, but keep going.
These were all red flags that kept being ignored until one day he did exactly what he had been planning.
After he shot 3 employees or 3 people from the store within the store, he then turned the gun on himself.
Randy's obsession with the cartoon character Ember McLean from Danny Phantom was deeply unsettling. He felt that he was trapped in a woman's body and began cross-dressing. He believed that after death, he would be reunited with that cartoon character in another world. This delusion only fueled his resolve as he meticulously planned his attack.
You believe in fate? Here's the fate test. I'm gonna flip this 3 times. If it's heads, I'll do it here. If it's tails, supermarket. To take people down with me before I ended my life, but this was the biggest thing I thought about, and I paced for like 45 minutes thinking this over. If it was up to me, I would fucking shoot up a supermarket.
On June 8th, 2017, Randy blocked the exits to the grocery store, ensuring no one could escape. Then, with cold precision, he opened fire. 3 unfortunate victims were claimed that day, one of which was innocently stalking the grocery aisles. Randy shot and killed 3 of his co-workers that day. First responders got to the scene almost immediately, but it was too late. Randy took his own life in the supermarket's deli section, leaving behind multiple recorded videos saying goodbye to the world. Trey was a 22-year-old who once lived a seemingly ordinary life. Under the alias Mr. Anime, he had been posting anime reviews on YouTube since September 14, 2006, amassing a large following in the process. 1 month before the shooting, Sesler posted a video with the title, "Mr. Anime is planning something," and then claimed he would take a 2 to 3 week long break. In reality, the self-proclaimed loner was consumed by a growing obsession with violence. Trey's fascination with the Columbine High School massacre and the Virginia Tech shooting is what began his deep decline to disturbing thoughts. He was known to have a history of killing animals and even shooting weapons near schools. As time passed, his actions grew more dark and more unhinged, until March 20th, 2012. That's when he shot and killed his parents and older brother in their home. According to Trey, he was planning a mass killing and had to take care of his family first so they wouldn't be ashamed. August 2nd, 2012, Sesler pleaded guilty and was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Claire Miller was just 14 years old with a growing following on TikTok where she entertained her audience with lip syncs and skits. She had over 22,000 followers. Her future seemed bright, but in the early hours of February 22nd, 2021, something inside of her snapped. Claire's sister had cerebral palsy and she often had to help take care of her. But one night, while her sister was sleeping, she stabbed her 19-year-old sister with a kitchen knife until she died. Surprisingly, Claire called the police herself, confessing to everything. When the authorities arrived, they found the horrifying scene. Thousands of followers flocked to Claire's TikTok account in the aftermath, subscribing up until the platform eventually took it down. Claire would eventually be charged with third-degree murder with a sentence of 12.5 to 40 years in prison. Samantha Wolford was a Texas mother of 5, and she was known for her bubbly persona and vibrant videos. But behind the scenes, there was a bigger plot at play. In her videos, she claimed she wanted freedom from what she described as an abusive marriage. So she hatched a plan with 3 accomplices to murder her husband, Ernie. At first, the plan was to frame him by planting drugs and calling the police. But the plot escalated, and she ended up killing her husband on February 20th, 2015. Samantha's story to the police was elaborate. After calling her mother over to her house to help, she claimed 3 masked intruders had kidnapped her husband. Ernie's body was eventually found in the woods later that day. But as detectives dug deeper, her tale began to unravel. How had she managed to call her mother while supposedly tied up? Why did her story change with each retelling? The cops didn't buy her story, and Samantha's deception was exposed. She was sentenced to 99 years in prison for her role in the cold-blooded murder of her husband. Kelsey was an Instagram star and magazine model who went by the moniker Bad Barbie. At some point, she got in contact with Dr. Thomas Burchard, who was a well-respected child psychiatrist. For years, Burchard funded her lavish lifestyle after having connected with her online, but when he decided to pull the plug on their relationship, things went terribly wrong. She stole over $300,000 from Burchard, and to make matters worse, Kelsey discovered text messages on Burchard's phone that suggested he was considering taking her children away. This made her furious. In 2019, Kelsey, alongside her boyfriend John Logan Kennison and her roommate Diana Pena, did the unthinkable. They brutally attacked Burchard, abandoning his lifeless body in the trunk of his car in the middle of the desert. However, FBI agents caught up to her, and she was arrested on March 21, 2019. Her trial went on for 3 years. John, her boyfriend at the time, was sentenced to 18 to 45 years, and roommate Diana pled guilty to accessory to murder. And in 2023, Kelsey accepted an Alford plea, meaning she maintained her innocence and acknowledged that evidence would likely lead to a guilty verdict if brought to trial. This plea deal qualified her for parole in just 10 years. Anthony had gained notoriety for his videos, which were filled with vitriol against black women and religious groups. His online rants showed just how mentally disturbed he was, and it was clear that he had been struggling with isolation and depression. In 2009, Anthony, a 28-year-old man with a history of mental illness, walked into an empty classroom at Henry Ford Community College and committed a deeply disturbing crime. His victim ended up being 20-year-old Asia McGowan, who was a fellow YouTuber with dreams of becoming an actress and dancer. On April 11th, Good Friday, Anthony pulled Asia into an empty classroom and shot her. The shot was heard and reported immediately, but as officers approached the Fine Arts building where Anthony was, they heard another shot. Anthony turned the shotgun on himself. Talem Hussein, known to his fans as Lems, was a rising star in the UK rap scene, with his music videos pulling in millions of views on YouTube. But his rise to stardom took an unusual turn. Hussein found himself behind bars, serving a 26-year sentence. In 2018, a deadly confrontation erupted. Lems, along with his 4 accomplices, targeted 30-year-old Przemysław Golemowski. But why? Golemowski had allegedly stolen drugs from and assaulted one of Lems's buddies. The group's response was ruthless. They broke into Golemowski's home as he slept, stabbing him to death and beating him with a golf club. Not surprisingly, Lems already had a criminal record when he was arrested at 24 years old after being busted for running drugs. He tossed out a loaded gun from the window of his house at the scene, along with a parcel of cocaine and heroin worth about $26,000 and about $7,800 in cash. Lems and 2 of his accomplices were sentenced to 26 years in prison for murder, while the other 2 were convicted of manslaughter, each receiving 12-year sentences. Stephen, 33 years old, a YouTuber from Northern Ireland, went to extraordinary lengths to create an alibi for himself. In fact, he faked a live stream of a video game while he carried out his dark crime. The details of Stephen's plot are chilling. He pre-recorded the gaming session days in advance, complete with hidden messages that alluded to the crime he was about to commit. During the stream on the night of December 18, 2022, viewers watched Stephen doing what he always did on stream, but in the background the dark scene unfolded. While pretending to play a video game, he was stabbing his 32-year-old partner, Natalie McNally. Sadly, she was 15 weeks pregnant at the time. Stephen was arrested and let go when they discovered his live stream, but his false alibi quickly withered away. Officers described his actions as sophisticated and calculated, creating the alibi of a staged live stream, double gloving, and being forensically aware. But in the end, extensive police work trumped his evil ploy. He stands trial September 2024, maintaining his not guilty plea. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.